today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome back to another episode of Shop Talk. Today we're discussing episode 813 of The Rookie, where Bailan had an intense ride-along experience. We also got to see Chenford and Milina recruit new members to the LAPD, and we got a surprise appearance from Seth. So we'll jump into our recap, but first we'll share the latest episode description with you for 815.
Yeah, so the episode description for 815 is titled Survive the Streets, and the team works together after Nolan and Selena discover a possible suicide that spirals into conspiracy. Interesting. So that's 15, and that'll air on the 13th. So it's crazy. We're coming down to the last few, honestly.
Yep.
So there are the episode titles for the rest of the season like floating around the internet too. So I think I think the finale is titled like The Bandit or something like that. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oscar's coming back, isn't he? Like when I see that episode title, I'm like, oh, that's got Oscar written all over it. Like he escaped in the last season finale. He's gonna escape again, or he already has
God, I
escaped.
hope
So
not.
yeah,
I cannot handle another one of those. I
I
can't.
know, I know. And I need to know if we get another season or not. Ideally
Well, yeah,
before the
that too.
season finale. Or yeah, season finale. But
Yeah, I know. Because, like, I was looking and, like, a few years ago or whatever, we got the season five, like, renewal thing,
mhm.
like, around this time. But that was, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah, I know. I'm seeing like other shows and stuff with other networks and even like ABC shows like getting pickups. And I'm like, where's
Well,
ours?
yeah, they just, like, did, like, Grey's Anatomy for, what,
Mhm.
23rd season or something
Yeah.
wild like that. I'm like, okay, come on. The Rookie
Yeah.
deserves a season nine.
I'm like, that's great. I don't care. Give me the rookie. Like, yeah. I mean, I do care for other shows that I watch, but not all of them. I'm
Hmm.
like, cool. But yeah, like High Potential got another one or something. I'm like, okay, cool,
Hmm.
cool. The CIA, FBI spinoff, like that got a pickup like when it's only a few
Hmm.
episodes or something in, like crazy. So
Yeah.
yeah. But so we'll just go ahead and get started with the episode. This one was directed by Troy and Belisario from Pretty Little Liars, so that was really cool. Um, and we'll start off with Bailey's new role and the whole Nolan ride along and like what a weird thing that was. But
Uh-huh.
it kind of made sense and it was good that he was there, but it was also like she can do this on her own. It was a whole thing. So
Yeah.
as she's getting ready for work, her first day back, John's like laying on the couch or whatever. He's like, you should just call in sick and like we can enjoy a day off together. And she's like, I don't have an official job yet, saying it was her fault for taking the leave and going to DC. And she asks what John's gonna do, and he's like, I'm gonna find out how many naps is too many naps and do absolutely nothing until she reminds him about the drain and the shower needing fixed. Um, so we see Bailey talk to the captain at her firehouse, and he wants her to train a paramedic recruit in the new class. So she seems a little shocked that she's getting a rookie, and he brings in Oakley. But this kid is pretty eager to get started, like telling her everything that he's read on triage medicine, even sending her a link, asking if she reads Hindi or if she needs the English translation. And the captain's just like, yeah, good luck with this. Like, I'm tapping out. So Bailey calls John from the ambulance, hoping that he hasn't napped yet and, hasn't forgotten to fix the bathroom drain. And he's just laying on the couch. She's like, no, I was wanting to see where you were assigned. She's like, I actually got a rookie. And he's all excited, like saying that he knew she secretly wanted to be him. And she's looking for some tips because she's never trained anyone before. And Oakley's kind of green and it's her first day back. And so she's like, can you come meet us, give a first blush level or eval, and maybe, a few pointers. So he tries to continue the conversation, but is hung up on. Mind you, this is the second time he's hung up on, and we're 7 minutes into the episode. I just think
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. Um, So Oakley brings a ton of like hemostatic gauze, dropping them on the gurney along with the first sim bag. And she's like, just watch. I like things a certain way, mentioning, the first in bag should go in the outside compartment and all that. So he tries to take it back to early agrarian societies, and Bailey's like, maybe let's just focus on modern emergency medicine. So he's like, understanding the history of things can give context to modern emergency medicine and like help explain why we do things the way we do them. So as Bailey and Eau Claire are driving, she asks where he went to school. I don't really understand how this kid became a paramedic because he's done a ton of school. He has his master's in neuroscience, actually a double master's for that because also in philosophy. He's got a PhD in molecular biology from UCLA. And he also spent a year at Oxford doing medical research. That was around the time that he thought he should have some real life experience. You mean to tell me that this kid has all of the schooling behind him and he is a paramedic sitting in an ambulance. And he's like, yeah, I just needed some real life experience. Okay. I don't, I mean, I guess this is as real life as you're going to get it, like working the streets of LA. So they get a call. Bailey texts John the location for him to meet up with them. And as he walks up, he's like, well, I thought we would be doing this over coffee. So Oakley's confused as to like why John's there and, to see them in action. And Bailey's like, this is my husband. And immediately I'm like, I'm pretty sure that neither of their departments would like approve of this. If it was like there was a form sent or whatever for approval, like it just doesn't make any sense. But then we've also seen well, we saw in Chicago Fire this season or last season, like there was a doctor from Chicago Med going on a ride along with two paramedics, but that was different, right? Because he was like an actual doctor in the show. I don't know. I'm like, okay, maybe I could see it, but even then, like it still just doesn't make any sense. Um, so they assess their patient. They find a gunshot wound in his abdomen. And as she puts the gauze on the wound and applies pressure, the patient comes to, starts screaming, trying to get up. And John and Bailey end up subduing the patient. And as they're getting him onto the gurney, a car pulls up with guys getting out, guns drawn, everything like that. So Bailey asks John where his weapon is, and it's in the car with the radio. Okay. So Oakley pleads for the gunman to not hurt them, which I feel like, I mean, anyone would do that, right? But I feel like as a rookie, your first day, like on the job, like that is pretty, I mean, I would hope that you're doing that. Um,
Mhm.
so the gunman tries to get the patient up, calling him a traitor. And, when they're told that he's under sedation, they're like, wake him back up. Like he needs to wake up. So John speaks up, he's asked who he is. And John's like, I'm a doctor doing a ride along. Like he doesn't even think to say anything else. Like immediately it's a doctor, in a ride along. And so the gunman says that they have to get out of there, saying they have to keep Isaac alive until they get what they need. And so John takes his badge off his waistband, lifting the like pad up on the gurney and putting it underneath there. I don't know how it like didn't automatically fall out because later it did, and I was just like, okay, I don't know if that was the best place to put it, but whatever.
Mm,
So as unless he thought like maybe he's putting it there thinking when they pull up the gurney to like put it into the ambulance, the badge will fall out and like just be left there so that someone hopefully finds it, you
mhm,
know. But one of the gunmen asks what they should do with John, and Bailey's like, I need him. I'm just a paramedic. He's a doctor. Like he has to come with us. So they take John's phone and they get Isaac into the ambulance. And as Oakley's driving, he's being held at gunpoint. And annoying Grass, who we find out is his name, but I don't think it's really ever said, found that out from someone who played another character and posted the cast list. But um John and Bailey are in the back tending to Isaac, asking what he did. And we find out that Isaac stole money. He was in charge of keeping it safe, and they were all supposed to meet, divvy it up, and now he's stashed it somewhere trying to keep it all for himself. And John's like, I assume this money was stolen from someone else and he wants to find out who. And then Helm's like, you ask a lot of questions. Bailey's like, yeah, shut up right now. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like this man will ask you questions until you go crazy or you think you're going crazy. So, um, she just wants to know what the plan is. Holmes says that there's three steps there. Wake up Isaac, get him to say where the money is, and then unalive him. And John's like, well, he's barely stable, so what if the third step comes first? And Helms is like, well, then you'll, you know, go in the ambulance too. And so Isaac is crashing, and we find out that he has a pneumothorax with pressure building in his chest cavity. So Bailey goes to puncture his chest to relieve the pressure, but they like hit a bump, and she's like, I need to be somewhere where I'm not moving. So Helms questions why Bailey is doing this if John's the doctor, and John's like, I'm a radiologist. Like immediately, that's what comes out of his mouth. Um, if I was Helms, I would be like, then why are you here? Because like I don't know much about being a doctor, but I'm pretty sure radiologists don't like go and do ride-alongs
Not that
in
I
the
ever heard
field.
anyway.
So they arrive to the office, quote unquote, and they put Isaac on this table. And Bailey says that, they're running out of time. And so John asks how long before her dispatch realizes she's missing. She's like, it could be a few hours. Firefighters aren't as worried about random violence as cops are. So the bank robber comes in and asks how Isaac is doing, but says that the hospital isn't happening. He wants Isaac awake. So Oakley, the rookie, is then shot when Bailey's like, I can't give him the epinephrine. That could unalive him as well. So the gun then is pointed on John, and they're told, that they've got 10 minutes to get Isaac awake, so that the robber can find the money. Otherwise, John will get shot next. So Bailey goes to help Oakley, and Grass, the one who had Oakley at gunpoint in the driver's seat, um, goes to stop her. The robber tells her again to wake Isaac up. She takes the scalpel out. And she takes it to Isaac's neck. And so they're trying to stop her, and she's like, I need to triage my rookie, otherwise I'm cutting his carotid and you'll never find your money. The robber then calls her Born Identity Barbie, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, she can handle this. Like, she's fine. John then steps in saying, like, why doesn't he treat Jace and she'll treat Isaac? The robber agrees. John goes over to Jace. Jace tells John a little of what like to do with the gods, and he's like, I'm gonna pass out now. And so Bailey has to focus back on Isaac, and they're all about waking him up yet again, but his blood pressure is cratered. So Bailey's like, I can't get any more blood to wake him up unless one of you is O negative, the universal blood donor type. And Grass is coincidentally. So Bailey, you could just see it written all over her face. She's like, great, more stress for me right now. She, tells him to roll up his sleeve. And so he starts like giving blood or doing the transfusion. And John tells Bailey that, she needs to take a look at Jace. He thinks that the femoral hyperglobus is exfoliating. And really it's just a ploy for them to be able to like get on the same page with things. So they say, they talk about as soon as they find out where the money is, they're all gonna, like there's just gonna be shots and a bloodbath and everything. So Bailey tells him that he's the forgotten man right now. So if he sees a move to make it, do it, and like she'll jump in. So Isaac then wakes up. The robber gets nowhere in finding out where the money is. Grass doesn't feel good. He needs to be unhooked. Then the robber comes back in with an axe and takes it to Isaac's arm. Okay, I didn't watch the episode live, so I don't know if there was a trigger warning or not before the whole episode. Um, but we saw this axe like make full contact with the quote unquote arm, because obviously that was prosthetic and stunt. And I'm just like, yeah, we didn't need to see that, like the full contact.
Yeah.
Like seeing the reactions of Bailey and like the other robbers and stuff would have been fine. We did not need to see the actual axe like hitting that prosthetic arm. It
Yeah.
was not
It was
needed.
very Walking Dead-ish.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so then Isaac starts convulsing and the machine's going off, and one of the robbers is like, wait, what's going on? Obviously his heart stopped, and the robber's like, oh, well, I want him back now. Like the robber doesn't care. I'm like, you just took an axe to his arm. And then he also threatened one of his legs. I'm like, oh my gosh. And you guys want this money? Like you're not gonna get that back. So Bailey and John figure out their plan. They can't get Isaac back. They're out of time. They gotta move. So the robber then knocks over the gurney. John's badge falls out. John uses this as his move, and he tells Bailey to, as he quotes, "Get down, honey." And so he knocks Holmes out. John takes the gun, starts shooting. Grass faints. The robber trips over Jace's hand, and Bailey goes for a kick to the face to the robber. And Jace looks up and he's like, "Did we win?" And John's like, "We did, thanks to you." And so as Nolan makes the call to dispatch, he tells Bailey that she did a great job and, they can take a sigh of relief. So we're in the hospital. We see John and Bailey talking outside Jace's hospital room. Detectives from the Pacific Division have connected the kidnappers to a bank robbery in Santa Monica, and they made off with 2 million, which explains why they were so desperate to find it. And it also explains why Isaac was determined not to tell them that, and took that secret to the grave. And I loved how Bailey was like, treasure hunt later? And he's like, yeah, but that's not that fun because we would just have to get back. And so Jace waves them in, wanting to know what the bad news is, but all things considered, there is none. So the bullet missed major organs, the surgery was straightforward, and he's like, this is a cautionary tale for me. And Bailey says that, she thinks he would have made a great paramedic, but, and he's like, this means a lot coming from the legend that is Bailey Noon. And he knows that he's more of a thinker than a doer. And starts to mention an allegory from Plato and gets into the nitty-gritty. And Bailey's just like, why don't you get your rest? And that's where we
Yeah.
leave off with that whole situation. So,
Yep.
yeah. It was interesting to see Bailey have a rookie and to see like how she was gonna do with that.
hmm
But the whole like John Nolan thing going into it was just like awkward to me and just weird. Like I didn't
Yeah.
necessarily need to see John like on the case with her to enjoy the storyline. Like I actually kind of liked it. We were able to see her like taking charge like that.
hmm
But I was like, I don't really need to see Nolan here too.
Yeah.
And I'm glad
I
that he
mean,
did like step back and like let her kind of do the thing, like manage the scene, everything like that. But yeah,
hmm
it was
yeah.
it was kind of a lot for me. But take us into the recruiting.
Yeah. So, for the recruitment part of the episode, like this was part of the preview from, uh, like that was posted earlier from like the wrap, I think. Um, Tim mentions that recruitment numbers are low and retirement numbers are obviously higher, at roll call. And that obviously something needs to be done about that. So they're going to do this recruitment process. Um, before he's interrupted by Smitty and his Shangri-La posse winning the lottery. Like literally they just get up and like start screaming. And then he's like, we're rich. Like Smitty out. Like he was so excited. And then
Yeah.
the title card, like reading the rookie with like the O's being the dollar signs with Smitty running through the station and excitement was like pure comedy gold. Um and then like obviously like the theme song started to play and like Nolan turned back around and was like, so about this recruitment thing, like he just wanted to get right back
Yeah.
on subject.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of funny. Um because like usually it's like Nolan that like gets into these like wacky scenarios.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, it was Smitty. Um so we next see Tim in his office with Lucy going over like recruitment flyers and info when she says too much it's too much like his time was on the job. And he's frustrated with that and tells her that like she can run the recruitment process um then. And so Lucy ends up recruiting Miles and Selena to help get new members because Pen's still a rookie, so who better to get insight from? Tim tells him how there's going to be background checks, polygraphs, etc., and how there's, going to be a lot of people out there who just want to join, but like aren't that serious about it, so they have to weed out the losers. Um, and Selena asks, what percentage of those to actual like serious candidates they should expect. Um, and it's kind of like they're more not really like losers, but just like weird
Yeah.
stories that people who come up to uh like apply are telling, because we see this like little montage of the process, and like Miles and Selena have a table, Chenford has a table. Like Selena takes one woman's application away after she said she wasn't convicted for murder. What? Hello? Like, still crime, still
Yeah.
bad. Um, and like another woman wanted to use her, white hot rage, quote unquote, to like take out criminals. And I'm like, oh goodness gracious. Like, I'm just like, maybe she should just like get into like ultimate fighting or something. Or no, that's what Tim ended up saying. He was like,
Yeah.
try MMA. And I was like, I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, I think she just needs to hit something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And poor Chenford is then blindsided by the last person that they probably expected to drop by the table, Seth Ridley. And he, is inquiring about rejoining LAPD at Mid-Wilshire. They kind of like share a look before it like cuts off, and then we come back. They're talking to like Miles and Selena about it. Penn does vouch for Seth. Miles is such a good friend, so obviously he's gonna like put his 2 cents in the positive way. Um, Tim and Lucy do ask Seth to take a polygraph, and he agrees. So we see them in like one of the interrogation rooms. They ask him a few questions, like his name, age, address, and he answers like truthfully. And then to get a baseline, they have him answer those same questions but lie.
Hmm.
So they then ask him about his lies over the course of his rookie period, like saying his girlfriend died or overdosed. Yes, he lied about that, or that he, had cancer. He did not. He never thought that he was sick during that time. He was asked if he was in love with Tamara. Yes, he was. Um, and that he was asked about that info he neglected to relay to them about the wildfire, which ultimately put them in danger. Yes, he received intel from National Weather Service. No, he didn't tell them. Um, Seth apologized and said he didn't mean to do that intentionally. He's not someone who lies anymore. He kind of like tripped himself up on that though,
Hmm.
because Lucy said, you know, you lied to cover up your, mistakes again. And he's like, yes. And then he's like, no.
Yeah.
So Chenford obviously has their doubts. Um, so we like leave that there for a minute. And then we go back over to Selena and Miles. They come across a woman named Kitty who said her boyfriend Franklin had joined the force. And so, of course, she wants to join too, so they can spend more time together. I'm like thinking, oh, that's nice. Like, it's just going to be some like silly, like storyline. I didn't think it was actually going to like turn into anything.
Yeah.
Um, but however, when Selena didn't recognize the officer, she decided to take a photo so she could like run it through and like find his department. Um, Turns out, as they were telling Nyla when she like happened to just like drop by, um, the badge was from like the 70s, and so it appears to be a like fake cop cover up, like for drug dealers, according to Nyla. So like they have to continue to investigate this. And then it cuts back over. We go back to Tim's office. He tells Seth that he has to report the findings to IA, like of the lie detector. Um, and Lucy basically confirms that while he's not, like banned from being a cop forever, he can't get a second chance here at Mid Wilshire. So Seth is obviously frustrated, saying how his lies got him into trouble, but even now, he told the truth and that's going to be used against him. So it's like a lose-lose situation for him. Um, I thought it was like, I don't really know, like, well, nice in a Tim way, like just based on where Tim, like how much Tim hated Seth beforehand, at least that he was able to tell Ridley, like, even though it wasn't enough to get him back on the force, like there, Seth telling the truth, like, did count for something. It just wasn't enough to get him the second chance
Yeah, I thought that
at
was a
that
really big
station.
moment for Tim, for sure.
Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, slightly better than they left it, but obviously it's like you can tell that there's tension still because obviously Seth thought it was going to um somehow work out for him, which I mean, I suppose I can admire his positivity, but at the same time I'm like, what did you think was going to happen when you took the polygraph test? Like,
Right.
how did you think that was going to work, even if you do tell the truth?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to come back to, bite you. Like, I don't know. I just didn't get it. But
I
anyway,
I hated too how he was almost like playing the victim again. Like, what do you mean? I did this and I did this and you still won't let me in. No, dude,
right.
you actually did some really harmful things to people.
Yeah, he really just
You
messed up
can't just come
big
back and
time.
like forget about all of that.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of a step in the wrong direction for Seth to be like that and like a step backwards when
Yeah.
it seemed like he was really trying to like overcome things, like when he was talking to Miles like episodes ago
Right.
about it.
Yeah. I just definitely was not expecting him to want to start over there. It's like in like, other shows where like, the, evil people like come back and they like want so desperately to prove that they're different. And I'm like, but you're not though. Like you're not as different as you think, which is kind of honestly, I think what like Lucy had mentioned to him at like one point that like he's not, maybe not as different of a person as he thinks. So yeah, so you can tell that there's tension there. Um, some people were kind of theorizing on Twitter. I saw when I was live tweeting last night that like, oh, is this the like Seth's villain era or like the start of something? And I'm like, goodness, I hope not.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind seeing Seth um in episodes this season. It's been interesting, but good lord, like he was already the villain for, well, at least for like Chenford,
Yeah.
um, in that capacity last year. So it's like I don't really need it again.
Yeah, I don't think I see him being like another villain in terms of like Oscar, like the one that, just they keep coming around.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I guess he has kept coming around, but just like in the way that like I don't know, he's just wreaking havoc on them. But
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't mind seeing him and I do like seeing Patrick like, portray Seth and everything.
Hmm.
But I'm just like, are we redeeming Seth or are we not? Because if we're not, then
Hmm.
why are we gonna keep doing this? And if we
Yeah.
are going to
That's
redeem
fair.
him, then let's not start with him trying to become a cop again. Like, he really thought that he was going to be able to walk up and like get his old job back.
At least not there. That's what I don't
No.
understand. It's like why there?
Yeah. And I saw a few comments and people were like, doesn't he have a prosthetic leg and stuff? And some people were like, well, he could be like a court liaison like Tim was, or even do like desk stuff, which I don't know. Like, honestly, with his background, like I don't know if he would be able to do desk stuff because like he got so sidetracked and like forgot to give Chenford that call and they went
Hmm.
into the wildfire. Like I don't know if you would be capable to work a desk job too, especially for a police station like that. Um,
Yeah.
and I wonder if like that information, like that polygraph that he took, if that will be in his record. So like any of the
I
other
would
police
assume, but
won't
I don't
be able to like hire him because they'll see that.
know.
I would
Mm-hmm.
think.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. It was really interesting though, like how he just came back and he was like kind of like smug about it. He was like, I hear that you need personnel and I need a job. So can we work this out? Like, what do I need to do? I'm like, you can actually turn around and walk away. Like, that's what you do. Because I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that no one wants you here. And you're walking up to Chenford, no less. So,
Yeah. So we go back to Niles and Selena and Nyla. They're like talking to Kitty, who is still certain her boyfriend is a cop there. And she is so sure, in fact, that she points to a picture of his commanding officer, who apparently is Captain Jennings, who apparently is a whole other issue in and of himself. Yeah, awkward. Um, so we see Jennings being brought in by Tim under the guise of like some random, like, paperwork thing. But really it's to the interrogation room with Harpez, who will be questioning him about his involvement in all of this nonsense. Um, and Nyla basically is like, they're his worst nightmare. Um, and they pause because Angela wonders if they should workshop that line later. And I was just like, they're actually having this conversation right
yeah.
now in front of him. It was funny. Um, yeah. So they do eventually like just get straight to the point, telling Jennings all the evidence they have on him, including Franklin plus two other felons named Jeremiah and Marcus that, Jennings brought in to rob drug dealers and then he'd sell the product himself. So yeah, he's definitely gone to the dark side. Uh Jennings tries to make this speech about how much, he gave to the city and the LAPD and like, oh, he's, fallen so far from where he was and like it's not been easy and blah, blah, blah. Like every excuse under the sun to not take the rap for this. But of course, Angela and Nyla are not buying it and he's like going down. Um, of course, they still want to catch Franklin, so they use Kitty as bait to lure him back to Mid Wilshire for like recruitment purposes, but it's really not. Um, she just gets him to stay in that like common area until they can arrest him, which they do. Um, Once that whole debacle is over with, Kitty like wonders if she'll ever like meet someone else, and who shows up next to her by coincidence? Seth, of course.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, nope, no way.
Yeah.
But sure. Seth he introduces himself to Kitty. And the two may have hit it off. Personally, might be an idea that's so bad it's almost good. So uh there's the possibility of that, I suppose. Um,
I love how they
yeah,
cut it too. She was like, will I ever meet someone who's as good as, and then like, he says, hey, behind her. Just the way that like it was cut and directed was amazing. So,
hmm yeah, and about the whole lottery thing. Yeah, it turns out everyone except Smitty ditched the Shangri-La Westgate. So Smitty's the sole resident right now. As Seth and Miles come to find out when they drop by to see him. And I was just like, oh, poor
yeah.
Smitty.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Oh, go
oh
ahead.
yeah, go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say in true Smitty fashion, he kind of like, makes it, like still hypes it up as like, oh well, I have this whole place to myself, yada yada yada. Like he's like so trying to be chill about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, like everyone just moved because, and I'm just here by myself because I like didn't pay my share. And I'm like, yeah, you just thought you were gonna like get in there and not have to do anything with it, right? Like,
yeah, he just wanted to cruise.
I also can't believe that they've been playing it for 12 years.
Yeah,
And apparently, like,
crazy.
none of the core officers, like, it was all like background people and like people that we've never really seen before that were all like in it, but no one
Yeah,
else knew about it. It was so
no,
funny.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So we have Wopez next. I saw M's post about how many, like, how much screen time Wopez has had this season. And it's honestly a crime. Like this episode makes up for it a little bit more, but not totally. And
Yeah.
we need more Wopez. So Wopez pulls up to the station and they see Nyla, who's confused. She's like, I just voted for you. Um, and she's like, why are you guys going to work? Like, shouldn't you be doing the whole last minute campaigning thing? Rita, the campaign manager, wanted him to, but they talked about it, and Rita gave them the latest poll numbers, and then she quit. And so they were like, why bother campaigning anymore? Like, neither of us enjoyed it. I'm gonna lose. Like, what are we even doing? So Nyla's like, I'm not complaining because I got my bestie back on the job. And Wesley's like, why don't we just have dinner, just the four of us? Like, there's no point in watching the returns. And Angela says, I love you, loser, to him. And Nyla just reassures him that he would have made an amazing DA. And I'm just like, gosh, I just love this like trio. I love it.
Mhm.
And so as he drives off, Nyla questions that Vivian will fire him the second she wins, right? And Angela walks in as Nyla stays back, making a call to John. And she's like, can we do a small gathering at your house for Wesley tanking the DA race? And John's like, is that cause for a celebration though? And she's like, well, it's a time for friends to get together and support each other. Plus, it needs to be a surprise. So as John starts asking like what else she needs, she hangs up and he's like, oh, so we're just done with that conversation. And so she like starts a group chat, everything like that. And it was at this point that I was like, okay, we've had Nyla and John moments, but like this just felt reminiscent of like season two, Nyla and John, where she was
Nope.
just like, I'm done talking. We're ending this right now. Like it just
Yeah.
I need more Nyla and John moments like that. Like where she's a
Yeah.
little sassy with him, but also like she appreciates his friendship.
Yeah.
Also, why is it at John's house? Like, I get it. They're all working for the day and John's off, but like, I mean, knowing what we know now, like John had a pretty eventful day too. So like,
That's
why?
true.
You
That's
know?
true. Yeah.
Um, and also like I don't know, I feel like it would have been better if it was at Nyla's house, but I guess
I guess maybe because like
Nolan
no
has more
kids
room.
stuff everywhere. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if
And
that was
Nolan like
maybe
has
it.
more room and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as James is getting all the party decor for Nyla, and after he gets off the phone with her, Wesley stops by, and James almost tells him about the party, but remembers it's supposed to be a surprise. So he's like, "Oh yeah, I was watching a news story about the election." And so Wesley's like, hey, do you remember like 1,000 years ago when all this started? We talked about doing like an announcement speech to lay out my full progressive agenda. And Wesley's like, if I'm going to concede this election, I want to go out swinging. And wants everyone to know exactly what he believes. And so he's hoping that James can give him an assist because his speechwriter quit. So they have to so James is like, yeah, let's go to my office. And so I loved how James was like trying to keep Wesley like away from looking in
No,
the
I know he steered him like completely. He just like
yeah,
sharp right turn this way.
yeah, yeah. And if I was Wesley, I'd be like, dude, I've been in your house. Like, why are you trying to hide something from me? And so so they go to James's office in another room, but like James closes a door that like can see the kitchen or something. And so as Nyla and Angela are finishing up for the night, Angela's like early returns are coming in, and Nyla's like, any good news? And Angela's like, no, we're still getting crushed. So Wesley and James walk up, and his speech about conceding is pre-recorded, ready to be released whenever he officially loses. And so Nyla suggests that her and James take them to dinner. And she's like, we know a great Mexican spot up in the valley. And Wesley's like, it's Nolan and Bailey's place, isn't it? Like, that's where we're going. And I just love how Nyla was like, you told. Like, she was like,
Right.
James, like, you are the sole culprit here.
Well, yeah, and he
And
was like, "You wanted me to lie?" She's like, "Yes." I was like,
yeah,
"Oh my God, I missed them."
yeah, same. I know. I just seeing the four of them like walk out together, I was like, oh my gosh, okay. I love these four. Like, amazing. I did see people had posted on Twitter before the episode, they were like, just a reminder, our core four come back. And it was Tim, Lucy, Miles, and Selena. And I'm just like, yeah, there are core four, but also So is Wopez and Jayla. They
Yeah,
are the true, like, parents, core four, just power
right.
couples.
Yeah.
Not that everyone else isn't, but so Wesley's fine with it though. He's like, I can't think of another place or a better place to celebrate my failures than with all my friends. And we go to the party, and Raj is there singing a new song just for Wesley. I love how it was strictly like all the couples. Miles wasn't included, Smitty wasn't included, not even Wade and Luna. Okay, number one, that's a crime, but also they're going through their own thing, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but I just loved how it was like all the couples there. And there's a line in the song about, lost by a lot, and everyone's just like the shocked emoji, like in different forms of it. And Wesley's like, I mean, it's true. And everyone just smiles and, they're all happy. And so, listen, John's probably just happy that the song is not about him.
Oh, totally.
Like, and Xander had
Totally.
posted on Instagram and he's like, I wrote a song for Wesley. I got to write a song for Wesley or whatever. And I was like, wait, should Raj write a song for every character, like every main character on the show?
Well, I mean, he had the like beginning of the song like for Selena and stuff, and then
Yeah,
like he came over, to the um recruitment booth that she was at to like check in
yeah,
with her. So like, I mean, they had some cute moments.
yeah, he
Um,
did.
so like, but I mean, yeah, I could kind of see it considering he wrote a song about that passing by like prisoner or something when he originally was on the show
Yeah,
and just made it up on the spot. So like
yeah,
he probably could just
yeah,
create something
yeah. I know.
lightning
I'm
fast.
like, what would the songs for each of the main characters be? I don't know. And now I'm like, wait, I want that. Like,
I mean,
really like
Bailey's would
Raj.
have to like
Yeah.
list all of her jobs
Uh-huh.
and like all of her skills,
Yeah.
um, in like
Lucy,
a what can't she do type thing.
yeah. Lucy's has to mention the uh Fist of Justice or Fist of Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Angela's could mention La Adelita. Nyla's could
Hmm.
mention like all of her undercover stuff maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know. But I now need all of it. Like I need everyone to have a song. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So then there's also a line in the song that there's some lines in the song that are just so perfect. The line reads, "If you think you're on your own, just come home. We'll be waiting. When you don't know what to do anymore, that's what we're here for." So seeing the couple just sans Wuna, all there celebrating Wesley, just hanging out is perfect. Like found family moment right there. And I need more of that. Like we say that every season, I feel like.
Hmm.
And we're at least getting one a season now, so that's good.
Yeah. We'll take it.
Yeah. So Wesley's standing there looking at the cake and he's about to cut it and he's just like, this feels weird. And so Angela walks up, she's like, I want a piece, which love her. She's like always motivated by food. I mean, same,
Yeah.
same. And Angela's like just pushes the knife down through the cake and he's like, oh, okay,
Yep.
that's my face. There we go. Okay. Um, and I just feel like that was a Shauna and Alyssa moment for some reason.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. And then
I could
his
totally see
speech
that.
about conceding is about to start, and he doesn't want to turn on the news. He's like, it's in our rear view mirror now. Like, let's just move on. And he says that it felt good to cut through the noise and stop playing politics, and made him realize how little he had accomplished at the DA's office. And so he was like, I tried to change the system from within, but without being the boss and having that power, it's a losing battle. So he tells Angela that he's gonna go back to being a defense lawyer and she figured and mentions that there will be a lot of cops who will feel betrayed and feel like he's siding with the enemy. And he's like, there's only one cop that I care about, like whose opinion I care about. And he doesn't actively say her, but like we know that it's her, obviously. And so she's like, I'm all for it. Like honestly, our sexy time was unreal when we were on opposite sides. And I said this before we started recording, but like I get the ick when Bailey and John talk about that, but like for some reason I'm okay when when like Wopez and Chenford are I don't know. I
I
don't
mean, has
yeah.
Chenford even, well, I guess the like freak in the sheets
Yeah,
thing,
like
but
they
like,
hint at it. They hint at
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because like they hint at it, whereas Bailey is like, "What do you think about sex in the back of an ambulance?" I'm like, "Girl, chill, chill."
Yeah,
So yeah, I feel like they're just like more subtle about it.
yeah.
So so Selena and Raj are then like sitting on Balin's patio, and he checks in with her about that song that he wrote for her and she was listening to at the beginning. And she's like, or he thinks that, she's really incredible. And he got really excited when he realized Selena rhymes with zebra and subpoena. And she's like, does it though? And he's like, well, it's close enough for art. I'm like, all right. So he apologizes for making her feel self-conscious, but tells her a song is not a statement of truth, saying it's an opinion, and he thinks she's beautiful, but the song doesn't objectively make her that. And so she's like, I'm a painfully humble person, if you haven't noticed. And she's like, how can I not be though? Like, I'm surrounded by the most amazing people on the daily, looking back through the glass, like through the glass. And, she's like, they're a group of badass overachievers. Every single one of them is a unicorn in their own way. And he reminds her that she belongs right there with them. So as they gather around, John tells them that it's official. Okay, let me wait. I want to go back to that moment where she's like, they're all badass overachievers, surrounded by the most amazing people on the daily. Like they just this entire last scene just hit like so hard, I feel like. Especially coming down to like the end of like the season and everything like that.
Mm,
So they
mhm.
all gather around. John tells them it's official. Wesley's not the new DA. Um, and he tells Wesley, like, everyone in the room is fiercely proud of him for putting himself out there, shining a light on what's wrong in the system and the ways in which it could be fixed. So everyone raises their glass to Wesley. And he's like, I can't say it was an enjoyable experience, but it was memorable. And Wesley says that they've all went through so much in the last year. Sometimes it feels like it was more than they could handle, but it wasn't because they had each other. And he's like, we won't be going through anything alone in the future because we're family. Yeah, so cue the tears because hello, found family dynamic is my favorite. And I feel like we just don't get to see it a whole lot on the rookie. Like we don't see well, we see more of it on the rookie than we would with other shows, but we don't necessarily see like a lot of the characters interacting with other
I mean,
people.
not lately anyway.
Yeah. Like we saw Lucy and Nyla undercover, but like we don't get to see them interacting like every other episode or whatever.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. And even like off duty, like we don't get to see, Tim interacting with Nolan like off duty or anything like that.
Hmm.
So it's always just so refreshing and like special to see when we get these found family dynamics, but like to hear that like they all consider each other family and like they've all got each other's backs and stuff, like obviously we knew that that was the case, but
Yeah.
it's just so good to see because other shows I know that we watch, like they don't
Hmm.
really show characters interacting. Like at least we get that a little bit more on the rookie, but it's not obviously to the extent that we want it to be, but like it's more than what other shows are giving. So it's always nice to see that. But like to have the characters then acknowledge it is really good too. So
Hmm.
yeah. But that's about it for all the Lopez stuff. I'm
Yeah.
sad that we don't get to see him be DA, but like
I know.
it is probably better for
That,
Lopez. And like
yeah.
also I feel like everyone would not take advantage of Wesley, but I don't know. It would probably just get to be too much. But like one thing that I do love about the rookie is we have, and I guess we have this in like other first responder shows, like cop shows, all that, but like we literally have someone who's a firefighter, paramedic, Bailey. We have
Hmm.
cops. We have the lawyer. We have even the community defender person, James, sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, Luna with her like patient advocate stuff like in the hospital. Like we have so many different sectors of first responders, like public service employees that like come in and they even come in and out, like Nell and Elroy, or Nell at least with the dispatch stuff, like from time to time. Like I don't even know when the
Hmm.
last time was we saw her, but like she would come in. And I feel like that's just it makes it so special because I feel like we are able to see like the different sides of everything in a way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hmm.
But take us through Wuna.
Yeah, we actually got more than a 5 second scene for them. I was like thinking of you. I was like, oh, Jennifer's gonna be so happy.
Thank God, honestly.
Yeah,
And I'm glad that there's some kind of resolution. Like, can we fix that?
right. Yeah, please. So Lieutenant Gray is complaining about some pain that he's having, but he doesn't really think it's serious enough to warrant the hospital, and he really doesn't want anyone calling Luna about it, even though like Chenford's over there like being concerned about him. And like originally I kind of like because remember the last time Chenford was like concerned about him and he was like faking the like
Yeah,
heart attack pain or whatever, I was like I was like, no, it's not like, it seems
yeah.
legit. And so the solution apparently is Smitty, who will take Gray to the hospital. Although Gray has one condition, no lottery talk. But Smitty has a telehealth appointment, so Gray will be hearing a bit about it anyway. And I was like, oh, what I wouldn't have given to see that car ride. Like,
Same.
honestly,
I'm sad that we didn't. Like, I needed to be a deleted scene because that
it's
would have
so
been
funny.
just amazing. Amazing.
Right.
Also, the way that he like was trying to sneak back in or like sneak out of there, I'm like, Smitty. And I loved how Tim was even like, Smitty, you quit. Why are you back here? And he's like, well, you
Yeah,
see, my retirement papers didn't kick in. I'm like, oh my God, only this man.
right.
He's gonna be here
Yeah,
until like he can't anymore. Like truly.
right.
But then
Yeah,
also, like, what is he doing scheduling a teletherapy appointment while
I
he's on
know.
shift?
He's something else. Who
Like,
knows?
of course he would. And he'd probably do it in the shop with the shop cams like going and not realizing that like he's being recorded or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, Smitty. Smitty and Angela, like, please never change who you are. Like, I need those
no.
icons to just stay as they
Yeah,
are. Preferably
yeah.
interact in season 9 as well. I would love that.
Yeah, because like one of my all-time favorite like funny moments for them is when, Smitty's like in the basement or whatever, and they're trying to
Mhm.
figure out the corrupt cops, and then Angela walks in and is like, Smitty, get your ass into gear. He's like,
Yeah,
yes, ma'am, and like almost falls over out of the chair.
yeah.
And
I
he was like, she threatened to hurt me with bodily harm. I was like,
yeah.
oh God.
I think I just
Uh,
saw because I know that I'd seen that clip, but then also I feel like I've seen like Smitty core videos, or is it like Tim and Smitty and then like Angela and Smitty core videos, something like that.
mhm.
But I just need more episodes with Smitty. Like truly.
Yeah,
I was just
no, for
watching
sure.
like the episode or the clip from I think it was last episode, right? When Smithy's like watch commander for the day or whatever and like laying
Yep.
there like sitting in the chair like sleeping or whatever with the sunglasses on. How he gets up after Tim like throws the paper at him and
Yeah.
he's like all dramatic about it. I'm like, "Oh my God, only Smitty would be so
Yeah.
dramatic about that." Like so funny. But
Yeah.
yeah. I just need like a Smitty centric episode in season 9.
Honestly, yeah, same.
I mean, like everyone else can be included too because I just love seeing how everyone has to deal with him. But like Smitty needs to be the main focal point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So we do see Gray going to the hospital. This is like part of the sneak peek, the other sneak peek, that was shared. Um, he is at the hospital. Smitty announces as they're coming in, there's an officer in agony here. And of course, it's Dr. Ashton, is the doctor on call right now. And he mentions bed 11, but when Wade sees that it's him, he's like, oh, hell no. He's changed his mind. He wants to bolt. He's so not happy with this. Um, Smitty does get him to sit down, saying that, he has pain in his lower back, and apparently it hurts when he pees. It was like too much information.
But
Like,
also
why?
only Smitty would know that and say that. Like,
Right?
Smitty
So
was like,
true.
I'm clocking that.
Yeah. Because apparently Smitty could hear him cursing uh outside of the station bathroom. So that's how he knew that info. Um, and in true Smitty fashion, he was also ready to throw down basically when he realized that Dr. Ashton was that doctor, you know, aka the one causing problems for Luna. But before he could like say or do anything else, Wade yells at him to go back to the station. Um, and so Oliver wondered what that was about, and Wade tells him like acts like he's saying, "Oh, like you don't know," and Ashton's saying, he really doesn't know, but he'll just figure out what's wrong with Gray now, and they'll move on from that. Um, but Gray wants another doctor. Ashton's the only one who's free. Wade insists that he'll wait, even though he's obviously in a lot of pain. And we get the uh, memeable reaction moments. I think M captured them on
Yeah.
Twitter and shared them. So truly, there is no like, there's no lacking of memes when it comes to Gray.
Yeah.
So it was pretty nice that we got new ones. Um, So we then see later Luna dropping by to tell Wade that she's his patient advocate. Um, and Gray, had found out that he has kidney stones. Like, ouch. So while he's dealing with that, he doesn't really have anything to say right now to Luna, like marriage wise. But she tells him that she's there as his advocate should he need her. And so as she's like walking away from Gray, she, sees Dr. Ashton, and he's still wondering like what the deal is with her husband. And let me try that again. And Luna basically tells him that he's the one who caused problems in their relationship by giving off the impression that he wanted like to be more than friends by suggesting apparently like a hotel after dinner maybe, and like made her think that there was something more that was going on or going to go on. um However, Oliver apologized and said that he didn't mean to give her that impression. And she basically told him, well, it's easy for him. Like, he can just walk away without anything being affected, unlike her marriage was. So it's kind of like a bit of a light bulb moment for Luna because she realizes, you know, oh, okay, this guy wasn't, what she thought. And she mentions her chat with Ashton to Wade as he's getting out of the hospital later in the episode, but as in, like, she kind of told him off and, like, things dissipated from there, not in oh, I'm going to mention this thing to, like, start another argument, like,
Yeah.
to, like, cause alarm for Gray. Um, so on the bright side of things, Luna offers Wade the guest room to sleep in as he gets through his ailment, and he accepts, and she even takes him home to like talk. So yay for Wuna progress and for them actually having more than a 5-second scene this episode.
Yeah.
So I know we were saying like please let this be the end for Seth too. Honestly, like please let this be it for Dr. Ashton. Like nothing against Charles Michael Davis, but I need his character to go away.
Yeah. So we have confirmation then that like he initiated it and she was not like holding
Right.
back on it.
Yeah. At least
But
that's what it seemed like.
yeah,
But then
but
she
still
like
nothing happened.
right. But she just took that to mean that it was something, more than it was.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why even suggest that in the first place? Like, you know that she's married. Like, I don't
Right.
understand people. I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah. I
So,
don't know. I think because he probably just maybe, I mean, we still don't know like the full context, but maybe she was just like talking about it and she's like, I'm just not seeing him enough and everything. And so he was kind of like, he took that as a sign of like, oh, so you're not like happy in your marriage. So like, I'm
mm,
gonna go forth with this. And she was like, hey, someone's like giving me attention. Like, I'm gonna. kind of
Hmm.
play into it a bit. But even then,
Yeah.
like she knew
Right.
she was married. Like, why not like stop it before it gets to that point, you know? And I guess she
Yeah.
did, but still, like, you allowed yourself to kind of get into that. Like, I get it if
Yeah.
you're looking for attention and like you want that and like, you just can't help it. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, because she did say it like kind of brought, like they weren't happy
Hmm.
in their relationship. Like they hadn't been in a while, apparently. Like, well, from her POV. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean that probably does factor into it. But yeah, it was just like I mean, I was glad that like she had the light bulb moment and it didn't end up with like, I don't know, Gray like beating the crap out of Dr.
Yeah.
Ashton or something. Um, but I was kind of just like, oh, okay, he's gonna play it off like he really didn't mean anything. And I was like not expecting
Yeah.
that. Like I thought it was like gonna be all on him, not oh, she like read too much into it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but yeah, I just kind of want it to be it for Ashton, especially now that Wade and Luna are definitely heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Want to keep the momentum going in a positive direction. That would
Yeah.
be nice.
I'm glad that we got like some kind of angst and, like a storyline for Wade and Luna this season. Like it was nice, a nice change of
Hmm.
pace to not have like one of our main couples like in peril or anything like that. But it was just kind of like, why? Like they're fine now. I didn't
Yeah.
want them to like get divorced or anything, but like we're having them go through this, so why? But also we've had this happen with like Dominique and like everything like that. So I'm kind of like, okay, you know what? As long as they're fine, they're steady, we're good. Like
Hmm.
I can't be too mad at it. Like I feel like we got quite a bit for Gray this season, for sure.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's something. But yeah. Any other notes for this episode?
It was interesting. I kind of like what you said. It kind of could have just been Bailey.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I know some people were not, thrilled about like that center focus on them, but I was just like, honestly, like John could have just kind of sat this one out. Like,
Yeah.
it could have worked in that way too. Although
Yeah.
honestly, it just for the I enjoy the moments, honestly, where like John says and does things that like really make me think
Hmm.
and just pause to question like how can he get away with this or how are people
Yeah.
not, buying that he's, a cop, not a doctor, like um yeah. So it's definitely he keeps things interesting and you never really know what you're gonna get with them because they really
Yeah.
can't have even a normal day anymore to save their
Right.
lives.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they
So,
they can't go anywhere and like be normal or act normal. Like they just can't. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. Like the cases relying so heavily on those probably didn't really need those. Or at least not so much focus on that, but they were good. It was good.
Hmm.
So, you can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod underscore or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstark804.
And I'm at Kara Hammond.
And we're on TikTok as well at the Shop Talk Podcast underscore. We also have merch at shop-talk.dashery.com. We'll be back next week with a recap of 814, which the promo looks pretty good for that. Like we have Brolin. I'm excited.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I'll definitely be interested to see how they deal because like, they're like some people I guess would be like, millennials and then like they'd be like dealing with like Gen Z people. So it's like interesting to like see that dynamic of them dealing with high schoolers.
yeah. I
So
gotta watch the promo again, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting, that's for sure. So, yeah, but we'll be back next week, Wednesday. All right. Bye, everyone.
bye guys.
Go get him, boo.